The Traitors has a weird, completely self-imposed problem, and I think we need to talk about it. Because the Traitors is the show that's really taken off in recent years. Sure, it started internationally with the UK, New Zealand, whatever else. But ever since it came to the US, it has just gradually become more and more of a phenomenon, especially with last season. Season 3, Danielle, Carolyn, Boston Rob, Bob the Drag Queen, Brittany Haynes. Great. And those are just the traders I named. So, I mean, it was really a season that took, it seems like a culmination of just reality television together and sort of molded it together in the imperfect but really good season of television, which ended up being probably my favorite reality show of last year, just from the pure star power of it. So, what's gone wrong with the Traitors season 4? Well, as I'm recording this, we're about halfway through the season, and in my personal opinion, it has been pretty darn bad, especially the first few episodes, which I think are some of the worst reality TV I've seen in a while. And I've watched Big Brother and podcasted about it. But no, in in all seriousness, The Traitors is a pretty good show, but I think most people who really get into the nitty gritty of it would agree that it's not because it's a good show. It's because it's interesting. It's a social experiment, like Survivor or Big Brother, where you see these different people interact and they got to figure out X, Y, and Z. How far would you go to get the money? Classic competition reality stuff. And we love that. We love that. So, what's gone wrong with the Traders season 4? Well, to answer that question, we don't need to talk about reality television at all. In fact, I don't want to even a little. Um, let's go on a detour. Hey, you want to talk about some music? Let's do it. Um, this is a game called Rock Band. You might be familiar with it. It's a game that I'm a fan of. Many people are fans of. Um, in this game, you wait around, you wait for notes to hit, and eventually, hey, you're gonna hit some. And the thing about this game is that starting off, Rock Band 1 is kind of a lot like the Trader Season 1, where it's like, whoa, we got some good songs here. We got Say It Ain't So, we got Don't Fear the Reaper, we got Learn to Fly by the Foo Fighters. This is fun. Rock Band 2 kind of takes it up a level. Here's some Nirvana for you. Here's Black Hole Sun by Soundgarden. Here's some Alice in Chains. And then Rock Band 3 feels like a culmination of everything, where you have modern stuff. You got Paramore, at least at the time. Modern stuff like Paramore. You've got interesting stuff you wouldn't associate as being in a rock band game, like Amy Winehouse, while still having some darn good tunes, just all across the board. Indie stuff, rock stuff, metal stuff, a little bit of everything. And then Rock Band 4 comes out. And instead of playing Everlong or, I don't know, Drain You or, some great songs like that, I'm playing Brown Eyed Girl by Van Morrison. It's Cake by the Ocean by DNCE. It's not the same. And if you can't see the connection that I'm about to make between Rock Band and the Traders, well, I'm sorry, but here we go. So before I really get into the meat and potatoes of this, I want to first talk about my experience with the Traders because I don't think it's too different from a lot of other people's. But I mean, I want to give you the honesty of like why I got into the show. You know what I mean? And it's pretty simple. Sari was on it. Stephanie was on it. I'm a Survivor guy through and through. I got Survivor behind me on this TV if you are watching. So yeah, I really wanted to watch the Traders because of that. And I'm a person, my apologies. I'm a person who will subject myself to any reality show if it has a Survivor contestant on it. I watched Beast Games because Sifu was on it. Like I'm bad in that way. This is a character flaw of mine. But, there was some stuff leading up to the Traders that made me be like, okay, I can get with this. I didn't know anybody on the cast besides Stephanie and Sari. I knew Rachel Riley. what I didn't realize at the time is I'd actually seen a few different reality shows with Rachel Riley on them, but I had never somehow she never registered to me. Like I watched her Amazing Race season, and she never registered to me. I don't know. I don't know how either. I don't know. Snake in the Grass, watched that with her, was like, I don't know who this is. And then got on the Traitors and I watched her. But I fell in love with Traitors season one because it had an interesting cast. And it has still to this day probably the most interesting cast of the US Traitors because it's the only one that's split 50-50. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about this cast. I'm actually going to go full screen on this, just so you can see a little bit of like what we're talking about, because this is something we are going to get into. What do these things mean on my screen? Well, first of all, the white line is the difference between the famous people and the not so famous people. The haves, the have nots. The will continue to be on reality TV, that will never be on reality TV again. This is kind of the crux of the Traitors season one. It's sort of what we can see above us because to me it feels like, and I do say feels like, it feels like the Traitors season one was born to be a coronation for Serene Fields. The show was not designed that way. We all know that. You know, it was designed in the UK, it was designed overseas. But if you took a Traitors producer in season one, and really through the first few seasons, maybe up until season four, I think you could probably easily make the argument that, hey, whoever's casting for this and whoever's deciding who's the traitor and who's not are just here to do wish fulfillment. You know, ask for what they want to see on reality TV, especially when it comes to the gamers, the competition reality TV folk. So let's talk about it and let's once again break down this thingamathing. So in the top, we will see the gamers. And not only are, you know, the traitors who were selected as traitors initially in red, we also see with the four people in the top, they have, excuse me, they have little green check marks next to their faces. What does that mean? This is going to be something that's going to be very important for my thesis. And it is simply, these are the people who are supposed to know how this works. Simple. There are 20 people in the cast, 4 people should know what they're doing. And frankly, they put the 2 people who probably should know the most of what they're doing of those 4 in the turret. Suri, I mean, my God, heads and Suri Fields above everybody else in this cast. I'm not just talking about, you know, the boring whoever, whatever people. I'm talking about Cody Calafiore, sure. He won Big Brother, won BB All Stars in a season everybody loves. Ain't nobody think he's better than Suri Fields. Same is true of Rachel Riley. There are more Big Brother winners on this cast. There are infinity times more Big Brother winners on this cast than Survivor winners. But it doesn't feel like it. It feels like, and it felt like to me at the time, all right, this is Suri's game to lose, basically, as soon as she was named a traitor. But what you'll notice is, right away, the traitors is wish fulfillment. You have Suri, she can finally get her win. You have Cody, who I don't really know why he's in the turret. I guess he's just like, I guess, I don't know. If I'll say this, if the Traitors season one happened now, if the Traitors season one happened now, to repeat myself, Rachel would be in that turret instead of Cody. I guarantee you that much. And Christian's also there. Christian's really interesting to me because I think he was a very fun, interesting traitor, but he was born to work only in Traitors season one, where once again, there are 4 people who know what they're doing, and essentially maybe 2 people who know what they're doing. With Suri and Rachel, and everybody else is just a big shrug. So that's Traitors season one. This is our basis. This is what we base the entire rest of the show around, is this box. So let's move on to the next one. Let's move on to the Traitors Season 2. Um, as you can see, we have them split up by gender, but frankly, you can see what matters here, which is, hey, Dan Giesling is a traitor. Phaedra is a traitor. These are the only two in the turret so far, but you'll see that I have Parvati outlined in orange yellowish because, I mean, she's basically a traitor from the jump. She's not, but for all intents and purposes, she is. And once again, this feels like wish fulfillment in a sense because, hey, now we have all of these celebrities together. We've gotten rid of all the whoever, what's his names. You know, we're here with famous people. Everybody knows Kevin from Bling Empire, don't you? So, that's the type of thing we're dealing with. And Phaedra's in the turret, and she's going to be, the star of the season to some extent, depending on who you ask. Um, and, she's really going to take the cake in terms of, all right, this is Phaedra's game. This is all about her. This is her thing that was ruined by the terrible Dan Giesling. But if we're being real, this is a giant step up in terms of people who should know what they're doing. Because the green check marks you see aren't the only people who know what they're doing. These are just the people who are supposed to know what they're doing. So, like, when Pilot Pete comes in and knows what he's doing, and Marcus Jordan comes in and gets killed for being too smart, it's like, okay. It's like, all right, nobody suspected that. But this is sort of what I'm going to get into and what I'm talking about of the gamers are going to take over the narrative of what the Traitors is. I think it's, it makes sense if I was on season 2 to assume after story 1 that, okay, somebody from Big Brother or Survivor is going to be in the turret, right? That's just kind of like common sense. Phaedra being in the turret is a little more like, okay, well, hey, if I'm an armchair quarterback, if I'm, Monday morning quarterback, I'd say, well, yeah, of course, half the cast isn't on Survivor or anything like that. So surely one of them has to be in the turret. I mean, you'd say the same thing about season 1, but hey, I mean, there was only there were 2 gamers of the 10 people who were celebrities, and there were only 4 gamers of those people. So I mean, like, there's no real reason why Ryan Lochte couldn't have been a traitor. You'd hate to see it, but I mean, surely we're not going to do anything that ridiculous in season 4. But Phaedra, comparatively, is like, it's a smart pick. She's a gamer of the Housewives, or so I am told. But let it be known, Phaedra making it further than the other 2 is not indicative of this being a housewife-centric season. Nobody else knows any of these housewives. I mean, Larsa and MJ and Ekin-Su, well, Ekin-Su's not even, but Larsa and MJ are kind of iconic in their own, like, loser sort of ways, MJ has that one outfit, gets screwed over at the end. Larsa breaks up with Marcus Jordan, is Larsa Pippen, etc. Tamra, I don't know. Cherie really liked Phaedra. Ekin-Su from Love Island still died. So that's kind of what I think about that. This is a gamer-centric season, despite what half the internet will tell you. From the very jump, like, just think about it like this. Like, Bananas was the first to die. If Bananas lasted 1 more episode, there would be no doubt that this would be a gamer-centric season, because not only would he make everything all about him, Johnny Bananas, but also he's a good player. Like, he would find a way to make it pretty far in the game, which is, once again, smart why Dan Giesling killed him first. And that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about Dan Giesling, because Dan, like Suri, is kind of wish fulfillment. Of course, this time it is wish fulfillment that doesn't work. And to some extent, Parvati's wish fulfillment too, but it's Dan's wish fulfillment, so it's a little different. But no, Dan being a traitor is truly one of the great disappointments in my life. Not because I feel like he did terrible. I just feel like the precedent was already there. Like, people knew to look out for a gamer traitor, and there is nowhere to hide. Like, is Dan really going to be able to hide within the midst of Deontay or Kevin from Bling Empire? No. And should he have been aware of that? Sure. But this is to say that within one season of a basically completely different set of cast rules and dynamics, the precedent has already been set for what it means to expect a traitor on the traitors. You're not expecting a Phaedra, you're expecting a Dan, you're expecting a Parvati. Everybody knew that Parvati was a traitor. Are you kidding me? And the whole thing is you want to get close to Parvati so she doesn't kill you, et cetera, et cetera. Um, so that's something. That's something interesting. So when we go to season 3, is there going to be a change? Let's learn together. Well, I think that the answer is a solid no. I mean, here's the thing. Season 3 on paper, it feels like maybe it should be a little more of just like a giant I don't know what's going on. You know what I mean? Cuz there's a little more chaos involved in the cast. Not in terms of like, whoa, I can't believe they got this person. Though Ivor British Royal is pretty crazy, I guess. But it's more of just like the actual personalities we've casted are more chaotic. Our survivor representatives my apologies. Our survivor representatives are Sans Jeremy, Tony, Rob, and Carolyn. All of those people are known to be chaotic in their own ways. In Big Brother, we got Danielle and Brittany. Brittany is certainly known to be at least a chaotic, confessionalist. Danielle, as we would learn in the season, certainly occupies that space as well. But also, Bob the Drag Queen's a traitor. So this is what I like about season 3, and why I really do think that hey, this is the Rock Band 3 of this show. This is the pinnacle. This is the peak. It's just kind of, and I think this is the way that traitors should be. It's kind of just asking, I don't know, figure it out. I don't know what's happening. You all figure it out. I'm pushing it forward. And I think this worked because even though there are people who, the people out there don't like, comma, Tom Sandoval, Tom Sandoval is like a joke. He's just like, that's Tom Sandoval. Like come on. You know, people don't take him seriously. But there are a lot of people on this season who are gamers who demanded to be taken seriously. Danielle, to some extent, Carolyn, certainly, Tony, kind of, Rob, definitely, and then Wes and Derek, who were not in this cast preview, so they are just black voids. But the check marks are there. And you'll notice something else is, hey, 3 of these 4 traders should know what they're doing. But this is the fun thing that's kind of different from season 2 is that even though these people should know what they're doing, they don't. They do not know what they're doing. And that's the fun chaos thing. Is there is one person on the cast who I think knew what no, 2 people. I think Rob and Bob knew what was up in terms of how to be a traitor. Danielle did not, though it worked out for her, and Carolyn did not, though it worked out for her until it didn't. And all of them showed signs. Yeah. But this is what's fun about the traitors is all of a sudden you can get Dylan Efron to be the hero of the season. He's the guy who's not smart, but is trying. Wes and Derek get killed, and now you're left with Gabby as she's the genius of the season left, which is fun because she actually was smart, had good reads. But you wouldn't expect that going in. That's the fun thing about the traitors. You don't know because, and this is sort of what I'm gonna get at. The traitors is arbitrary and luck, and none of it matters because it's stupid and it's kind of a bad format. But we're not there yet. This is something that's really only going to pop up with season 4. And season 4 is where I have my big problems. So let's go to it right now. Season 4. Oh god. So 5 people of this cast of 24 people are supposed to know what they're doing. Is it 24? 23. Okay, my bad. 23 people Only 5 of them are supposed to know what they're doing. And you know what? Fair enough. I get it. Some of these people, it's like, yeah, Monet should know what Monet is doing because drag 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 race isn't really that far off from Survivor or whatever else, but like come on. But like, no one's expecting Eric Yam or Johnny Weir or certainly not Michael Rappaport to know what they're doing. So the Traitors has just gone full whatever mode. They're saying, you know what? We're just gonna throw anything at the wall and see what sticks. But here is the problem. Here's the problem. If we go back through all these shows, the Housewives have taken over this season. But here's the thing. This is not the same as casting a Phaedra. This is not the same because I will show you. We have precedent now. We have 4 housewives on season 2. Then we have how many housewives on this season? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 housewives on the second season. And now we've got even more. We've got 4. 4 is actually less than I thought it was, to be honest. But 4 housewives. And it's not like Lisa Rinna goes in and doesn't know what the deal is. It's not like she has no idea what the show is. There's precedent now. Now you're not really getting new people who don't know what the show is, which is part of why season 1 works and season 2 works and even season 3 works to a smaller extent. Is like, yeah, I guess Steven from One Tree Hill doesn't know what the Traitors is. But like, is that good? Is that good that he doesn't know? Shouldn't somebody else not know what the show is? Is it good that Ron doesn't know the show and then gets punished by it by everybody else knowing the show? I don't think so. And then there's the underlying problem of having the gamers to this point being wish fulfillment for the most part. It's now when you're in the situation where everybody knows, my apologies, where everybody theoretically knows you're going to cast a gamer, put them in the turret, what happens? Well, you take out all the gamers because, I mean, come on. And then what you're left with is, hey, Tiffany's gone. Rob C's gone. Ian's gone. Now it's Jam Jam and Natalie. And that's 2 people out of however many people are left. Those are only 2 people who supposedly know what they're doing. And what do you have? You have a straight shot on Donna Kelsey, who is a traitor. And from then on, I don't know. It's an uphill battle, is what I'm saying. And is this all a problem? Not necessarily. Because what I said before is that the Traitors has a weird, completely self-imposed problem. You see it in the title. But this is not a problem that's unsolvable. It's just they did it to themselves. This is what happens when you take the cast and from the very jump you make it all about gamer wish fulfillment. It feels like, comparatively, sure, there are Housewives fans in the casting and in the production process for sure. But comparatively, they want you to know that Dan Giesling is a traitor. He's the number one. Boston Rob and Carolyn being a traitor, that's appealing to something. That's something. And with season 3, because it's all gamers, it's really just like, if Bob was the least gamer and he was still like really smart comparatively to so many other people in the cast. So what are you going to assume going into season 4? Are you going to assume that the people who are housewives and who don't have their finger on the pulse of what competition reality TV is going to do? No. And so that's why I think it's important that Traitors does this and makes it so that, yeah, Rob Roush is your mastermind of the season, but I can also say that it makes for bad television and it's not good. So the problem with the Traitors that's completely self-imposed is they just messed it up. They just messed it up. They messed up what should have been an equal format of bring in the gamers and the non-gamers and have them go at it. And some of them are traders, some of them are not. And it's like, I don't know. And they messed it up. And the reason they messed it up is because, hey, they put too much thought into it. They put too much thought into it. The reason why the traders is interesting and why I like it is sometimes the traders are bad. And in season 3, the traders are pretty bad for the most part, but it's because they're going after each other and it's a surprise that they're bad. With season 4, they're good because there's an assumption that they'll be good. You know what I mean? There's an assumption that the traders will be people who, my God, who once again have a finger on the pulse of what the traders is. So yes, it's an important step to have people like Candace and Donna and Lisa be traders. But it's bad. I would much rather you take this cast of 23, make 4 completely random people traders. And I think on a season like season 3, very good television, that would be fun. If I just go right in a row here, and these are the 4 traders: Danielle, Robin, Jeremy, Bob. That's a great turret. That's the thing with having a strong cast is you don't need to force a narrative. You can just have it happen. And sure, these are still 3 gamers essentially, but like let's go in the middle here. Let's have Carolyn, Chriselle, Rob, Tom Sandoval. That's great. That's pretty great. Let's go right here. Let's go Chriselle, Sierra, Nikki, Bob. Could you imagine Nikki Garcia and Bob the Drag Queen in the turret together? That would be great. This is the thing with the strong cast and why season 3 works is because no matter what, it would work. Comparatively, season 4, if you go random, it doesn't work because who cares about any of these people? I still don't know who Johnny Weir is. I mean, I do, but I don't. Tara, I don't know. I don't know who she is. And from me coming in on the outside, I don't really know who Portia is. I don't really know who Caroline is. And if I was coming in on the other side, who the heck is Rob C? And why does everybody keep talking about him? Who's this, Colton guy? Well, people know who he is. Who's Mark? It's just different. I think if you had, Portia, Monet, Mark in the turret, it might be fun, but like I don't want to see Mark in the turret. If I had Dorinda, Caroline, Rob C, and Steven, sure, it'd be fun to see Rob C in the turret, maybe Dorinda in the turret. I don't want to see Steven from One Tree Hill in the turret. It's just not as good of a cast. And it almost feels like an intentional step down. It's like, oh yeah, you want to be on the Traders Jam? Yeah, that's cool. You can be on it. But you're gonna be on the season where we make the housewives the story. It feels like that season. And so I think comparatively, season 5, and especially the advent of, normal, whatever, dumb people coming back to the show to some extent, I think will help that. I think season 5, whatever it is, will be a reset. But I think generally, what I take away from the traders is the best way to do it. And I swear to God, I'm not kidding. Just have like literally have like the hopper from the challenge. Just have like a random selection of ping pong balls like the lottery and do like a live drawing of Alan being like, and the first trader is Kristen from Top Chef. Next, it's Mark from Dancing with the Stars. Then it's Michael Rappaport. I mean, that would be an awful turret. But that's mostly because they cast Michael Rappaport. That's the other problem. What? Yeah. Why did you do that? Well, I'll tell you why they did that. So I was talking earlier about, hey, the housewives know what's up now. And that goes to the extent of really, I think, most of these other people. I think Love Island, this is kind of the Love Island jumping off point for Rob and all that. There's going to be more Love Island people here on the Traders in the future. Be prepared for that, at least US Love Island. You know, these housewives are already well integrated at this point. Drag Race gets a person a season, probably should be more, but whatever. Bachelor Nation gets at least one person a season, and now they're sort of the smart ones, the under the radar smart ones. Dancing with the Stars Mark is now the second representative. One Tree Hill actor Steven is here. This section, this bottom five sort of section, I think is the stand-in for, hey, we want random chaos. We're gonna bring random people in who don't really know the show. Donna Kelsey, you want to be on? Sure, we'll make you a traitor because you're famous. You're America's mom or whatever. Um, and I think that goes the same for poor Ron, who had the same fate. Steven, who maybe people know, I don't, but I guess some people do. Eric, who some people probably know, I don't, but whatever. And then Buddy, and then Michael Rappaport looking at me with that face that he always has on his face. I think the traders almost went too far into the just throw everything at the wall mode. I truly don't understand why they did it. I don't understand why they cast Michael Rappaport. I think they wanted someone who brought chaos to the show and wasn't gonna, just go into a game body nature, to try to maybe repeal or throw away some of the stuff that had been developing in season 2 and season 3 of, being a traitor angel or whatnot. Stuff that like Colton tried to do this season where he goes to Lisa and is like, we'll go to the end together because I know you're a traitor. Which is not a good way to do that, by the way, but that's neither here nor there. I guess they wanted Michael to just bring an ounce of spice to it. But here's the thing with casting a guy like Michael Rappaport on your television show in general. If you're going to want a hint of spice, you got to make sure it's a hint. You almost had to go to the turn and be like, Donna, I know that you don't know anything about this show, but you got to kill Michael Rappaport. You have to. You have to. Because anything more, and it's just what we got. It's just miserable for everyone involved. It's shooting the faithful in the foot. It's good for the traders, even though they didn't need the help. Like I didn't. It's just awful. So I guess to sum things up a little bit, I think what the traders needs to do is they need to do a reset. They need to maybe do some randomization and just like whatever, and come back and learn from their mistakes. Their mistakes are cast interesting people who don't suck. You can cast interesting people who don't suck. Interesting people who don't suck. And if they're gonna suck, make them suck in a fun way. Like Tom Sandoval. He sucks in a fun way. He's I'm not calling him, the pariah of good or anything, but like I'd rather see him 10 million times than Michael or Colton, who has only given me worse and worse vibes as the show has gone on. And he was already on The Bachelor, so he already gave me pretty bad vibes. So that's what I have to say about that. Traders, weird, completely self-imposed problem that no other reality show has to deal with because they don't do this shit. So, good for the traders for like trying something new and bringing in the housewife. It's what makes season 3 good. It's what makes season 2 good. But it also means season 4 is bad and will probably continue to be bad. But hopefully I'm wrong. So thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for dealing with my coughing. And I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.